Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage.
Pull up a comfy chair.
Because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 14 of A Double and Dice, and in today's episode we're talking pre and post
MoDPDMUKGE.
So there is an event happening tomorrow. That's Saturday, August 22nd, 2020. And it's the
MoDPDMUKGE.
So it's an event that our True Mr. 6 guys are putting on. I think it's an online version to a local event they do. Is that correct?
That is correct. The MoPDMUKGE.
So it's online, open to everyone. So anybody around the world. And Jocelyn and I are going to be participating in that event tomorrow. And I believe there's up to 27 participants in that event. And I forgot to mention, we have Matt on the call too. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Here's another special guest we have on today. Sorry, Matt, I forgot to introduce you.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, because Matt's not playing tomorrow.
Yeah,
Matt is not playing. Matt wanted to play, but Matt's boss made him work.
Matt is his own boss, just for the record.
Shh! Don't tell anyone.
No, Matt had to work tomorrow, so we will be sad that he's not there.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to be recording all my games, so we'll miss out on the DM North stream. But so that will go up. Jocelyn and I are going to be playing tomorrow in that event. 27 people all around the world. It's a modern event, no bands.
Except?
There's one band.
Oh, yes,
well,
there's...
three bands.
Three? Okay,
well, one character.
Oh, Typhoid Mary. All 3 cards.
And why is that?
So she is banned because Infinity Gauntlet has not yet arrived in the UK and most of Europe, and there has not been any reasonable way to proxy Typhoid Mary available. So they've decided just to eliminate the Typhoid Mary. So all 3 rarities of Typhoid Mary are banned for this tournament. However, all other product is available, and proxies for Infinity Gauntlet are permitted if you do not have access to Infinity Gauntlet yet.
So we're going to talk about our teams. What do we think or how it's going to work tomorrow? Maybe what our expectations are, what kind of teams we might be playing tomorrow. We hope not Godcatchers and Becky's.
But there will be Godcatchers.
There will absolutely be Godcatchers and Becky's.
So hopefully our teams are brought to take those guys down. I don't know. But would you like to go first, Jocelyn?
Well, sure. I'll go first. So my team's a Becky team. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Godcatcher, right?
There is a Becky on my team, and the Becky is there because I want the global. Mm-hmm. So I'm running the 4-cost Becky Lynch Straight Fire, which is just the straight overcrusher, the cheaper of the 3 Beckys, and is really the global that I'm looking for. Pay a shield. The first die you purchase this turn is added to your prep area instead of your use pile. So that's what Becky's there for. Now, if someone comes at me with a Becky and has a Booker T and a Lawler global, then maybe I'll buy her, but probably not, because that's not my intention. My intention is to play with hashtag Rare Spider-Man forever. So Spider-Man Public Menace, 4-cost Fist. When Spider-Man attacks, spin target character die to an energy face of your choice. So this is the card that... I don't know if you heard about my story about when I went to Worlds. Have I told this story before?
No, can you tell us the story?
Sure. So I was at Worlds, and my good friend Matt was already in the preview draft, and he had a raffle ticket that won him a second entry. So he very kindly passed me that raffle ticket. So I was able to get into the preview draft, and a certain world champion passed me his draft cards. And one of those cards was Rare Spider-Man Public Menace. And I looked at that and I said, well, that's a rare and that's a really cool ability. And I'm going to take that one. So I took that card. And said world champion had bought himself I think it's the common collector from this set. Is that the one that when it blocks, you prep 2 dice?
I think so.
No, it's the uncommon collector. Behind the scenes, when the collector blocks prep 2 dice from your bag, your opponent can't target the collector with global abilities. So said world champion had purchased that card, purchased that die, and it was in his field, and he knew I was going to attack with the Spider-Man, and he was all excited because he was going to be able to block and prep dice. He was so excited by that. And then I said to him, "You can spin that collector to a double mask face, please." And he was like, "What? Wait, what? What does that do?" And it was especially fun because he passed me that card. And also, I gave him the double mask because he didn't have any globals he could use with it. He'd already used his collector global that turn, so he couldn't do it again because it's a once per turn global. There were no globals he could use, and his collector magically went to the use pile. I will say that he did end up winning that game, but it does not matter because this was like the best day ever. So I'm playing with Rare Spider-Man Public Menace because I heart it. And so that's my win con / control. So when he attacks, I spin target character die to an energy face of my choice. If my opponent has a die in the field that I don't want there, I can spin it to an energy face. If my opponent maybe doesn't have anything in their field and I want energy for a global, I could spin one of my own dice to an energy face. So that's basically my main control and my win con. Now from there, I've added in the rare Angela 4-cost Bolt Guardians affiliation as Guardian of the Galaxy. While she is active, your character dice gain Infiltrate, and this was added to my team at Matt's recommendation because the idea was here with Spider-Man I'm attacking and I don't necessarily want him to go through unless I've got lethal ready to go. So I can attack with him, get rid of whatever I want to on my opponent's side, and then infiltrate him back if he's not blocked. So that's pretty cool, and I'm excited about that. And again, so that's a when attacks ability and a while active ability. I do expect we're going to see a lot of the Angela Uncommon, which is when she's active, your opponent's when fielded abilities don't trigger. But I'm not running that one. I'm running the Infiltrate one. And then just to get rid of any pesky energy that might be in my opponent's reserve pool, potentially, especially after I've attacked with Spider-Man, I've got Eddie Guerrero, 2-cost Bolt I Steal. When he attacks, move all energy dice from your opponent's reserve pool to their use pile. So I attack with Spider-Man and Eddie, and I say roll that die to an energy face, and hey, by the way, put it in your use pile, because I get to choose the order of effects, which is very important because I also brought Static Field, which is there for the global pay a mask, remove target attacking character die from combat, so that if I do have energy on my side, I can, push back a Becky, push back a Godcatcher, if that has not been turned off by taking my energy with an opposing Eddie or an Istrid Horn. And the rest of my team is really there for utility. So I have a Gazer, 2-cost Shield, Evil Familiar, Intimidate. The whole point there is you prep one of those when you need to get rid of something, like a Godcatcher or a Becky for a turn, if the Spider-Man isn't going to be able to spin away everything I need it to. I've got Kree Captain, the 2-cost Warmonger, with just the pay 2 fists once per turn. The next character die you purchase this turn costs 3 less. Atlas, which gives me, again, that's for the global, once per turn on your turn, prep a die from your bag, so bag fixing and ramp. And then I put on the new rare Hulk, Hunter Green. Again, the text doesn't necessarily matter here. It does have call out, so if I needed something for removal, I could use that. But it's there for the global, pay a fist, target character die gets +1A until end of turn, so I can help buff things to get them where they need to go. And then finally, for my second basic action, I added on Stretch, which I'm still not sure was the right one to go with, but it's there. So that's my team and how it's supposed to work tomorrow. The idea is get Angela, get Spider-Man, get those in the field, spin out my opponent's stuff to energy, attack with Eddie as well to get the energy sent to the use pile to muck up my opponent's bag, and eventually have enough that I can hit for lethal.
I'm interested in this one. Like when we were talking, that the whole pairing Spider-Man with Angela intrigues me. In theory, I think it works. In practice, I don't know.
I think it depends on how fast these games go.
Yeah.
As you've noticed, I don't have any blanking control on my team or preventative things. I can't prevent when fielded effects. I can't. What's the new hotness? Drax.
Yes, Drax is going to be around.
So.
Oh, actually, you got Gazer. Gazer will get you around Drax.
When fielded, choose an opposing card, canceling all previous choices. Your opponent may not purchase or field that character until Drax leaves the field zone. So this is what are we calling this? A mini blob?
Yeah.
So the rare blob from X-Men Forever was a 4-cost shield, but that one was ruled that it could affect action dice. This one specifically talks about characters leaving the field zone. So the ruling on this card is that it only affects characters. It won't affect action dice like Godcatcher. So, Gazer's there to intimidate out Godcatchers, really. So the hope is I can prep a Gazer and roll it when I need one. Because that's the one thing that my Spider-Man can't spin out, right? Is a Godcatcher token.
If you're up against Godcatchers, you're stuck with them until Gazer deals with them.
Yeah. And that's why I put the Becky Lynch global on here, so I can prep a Gazer when I need it. Right? Now, I only have 3 Gazer dice, so I only have 3 chances to prep it. But hopefully I'll be able to get it to KO. Or, I guess I was going to say I could infiltrate it, but that's not going to help me intimidate stuff.
No, you want him dead.
Yeah. The good thing about the Spider-Man, though, because I could spin my own characters, if he does get stuck in the field, I could spin him to an energy face on my own turn and then cycle him. Not as good as KOing him, but it's an option.
Yep.
So I do have a way to get him out. And if there's other globals kicking around, if there's Nylor globals, that would help me. Those are handy for KOing. So what I don't have any protection against, though, at all is direct damage. And that was kind of a big piece for me here. I was really on the fence about this all week. Do I put Black Widow Agent on this team to reduce character direct damage from characters by 1? So, neuter range, have
Thor.
Iceman, have Thor, have Corvus Glaive. Do I put that on there? Am I going to see a lot of that? I don't have any protection against that, so I have to be either faster or I have to spin their stuff out with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. Spin stuff out with Spider-Man, attack, buff, win, maybe?
I hope you do well with it. Like I said, I want to see Angela's Spider-Man work.
Well, I mean, I tested it. Kim, I played this against you, right?
Yep. I was just going to say that. You played it against me, and it worked pretty well. The timing.
Yeah. You just have to get everything lined up.
Yep, set up.
But I mean, they're 4 costs, so it's not that bad, and especially with the Kree Captain, it's manageable. I'm hoping that my opponent brings Intellect Devourer and my opponents bring Clayface. So, dear opponents, future opponents, whoever you may be, please bring those things for me. Because I didn't bring them. Can we talk about Stretch for a minute?
About how bad it is?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out this global, she says, as she's about to play this game in less than 24 hours. Pay a fist. Once per turn, you may draw and roll a die. Move a die from your reserve pool to your use pile. So, is this saying to me that I'm going to pay a fist to draw and roll a die, and then I'm probably going to have to put that die in my use pile unless I have something else to put in my use pile?
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's really not that great of a global.
I think it works in certain situations where you're trying to filter things out and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I've never liked it personally. It's never worked well for me, or I've never figured out the magic of that one, I guess.
Yeah, so I think the reason I was looking at it was the actual action itself, in case I decided to buy it, because I'm not going to buy Static Field. We all know that, right? Yeah. Character dice deal only 1 combat damage this turn. Why would I buy that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would anyone buy that?
I'm sure there's a team out there for it. I don't know what it is, but
if you build a team that uses the actual Static Field card, please send it to us, because we would love to talk about that. But this actual action is kind of cool, because it says move any number of dice from your use pile to your bag. And on a burst phase, either single or double, also draw 1 die and roll it. So again, this is like a, what do you call it? A momentum or a misdirection, right? So if you roll it on the burst phase, you're at least going to be able to draw and roll a die, even if you don't move anything. And then I thought it could be handy if, for example, something got stuck in the use pile and I've got a big use pile or something like that, I could potentially use this to filter what I want to put in my bag.
Yeah, I think for that use it might be okay. I don't know that you're going to have time to get to it, although, in all honesty, I think there's going to be a lot more control in this tournament than previous ones, so games might be a little bit slower.
They might be, so we'll see. But I thought, if all else fails, it's a 2-cost basic action, and how do you go wrong with a 2-cost basic action? Unless it's static field. Don't buy static field. You heard it here first, folks.
How much is static field?
2.
Oh, okay.
2. So, yeah, whoever you are who's built the team to use static field as an action, definitely let us know.
Hey, Nick, build that team.
Yeah,
that's probably a Nick team. Definitely a Nick team.
It's got to be a Nick team. So that's my team. I don't actually even know what Atlas does. I just know he's there for the global. Like, that's the kind of team I built. So.
He's a flip character, isn't he?
He is, but I don't know what he does.
Oh, he's probably blank.
No, he's got things. Like, I can read it. It's in front of me, but it's not relevant because I'm not going to use it.
Yeah. No, you're never going to buy that. When you get better stats from Becky.
Better fielding costs.
Yeah.
And better stats.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. I really don't want to buy Becky.
Just buy Becky's and that's it. You're good.
I don't want to buy Becky. I literally put her on there for the global. I have never purchased her playing with this team. So.
But because you've included her, you've disqualified yourself from Andy England's gauntlet, right?
Yeah, I do know that, and I considered removing it, but I was like, I need that prep global to buy my gazer. So I need to be able to prep my gazer when I need it, and I don't want to pay 2 energy to Supreme Intelligence it, because that was my other option.
Yeah.
And one shield is better than 2 generic in my mind right now. So.
Now, the thing about that static global is you need to either have a lot of energy sitting in your reserve pool, and you hope you don't pull a character that you want and roll it onto a non-character phase.
The stretch global, you mean?
So it's kind of.
I don't think I would use that global unless I knew that my bag was full of stuff I didn't want. Because I think that's kind of like, it's almost like the whole. I was going to say it's almost like the create food and water global, except it's totally not.
No.
I guess it would trigger a bag refill.
Yeah, so if you're trying to get something in, it may not be a bad idea.
So I think there's probably ways to use it, but I don't think it's really that strong. I think that the strength in that card actually comes from the action itself. So we'll see how it does. But yeah, that's the plan. Attack with Spider-Man's, infiltrate until I have lethal, and then buff up until I win. Or lose.
One of those is going to happen.
One of 2 things is going to happen. I'm going to win, or I'm going to lose. Yeah. So, but that's okay. I've disqualified myself from Andy's gauntlet, but I have not disqualified myself from the wooden spoon competition.
I'm jealous. I'm legitimately jealous that I lost a chance to get that.
I definitely want that.
If 26 people are going for that wooden spoon, maybe I should have built that competitive team.
Maybe.
Well,
this might have been the tournament for it.
I also want the X-Men animated series promo cards.
Me too.
But I don't want them enough to actually play my Godcatcher team or a Becky team. Because I have built and played both of those, and they're gross.
If it works, I played a Godcatcher team and a 2-team takedown for a first time ever playing Godcatcher, and I learned my lesson because it totally backfired on me, and I'm never playing that again. So instead of being 5-0, I was 2-3. So
Well, I mean, let's just hope that my opponent thinks this is a Becky team and they Drax my Becky.
Yeah.
Because that's fine, because I don't have any intention of purchasing her.
Did you put 3 dice on her?
2.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 dice on Becky.
I would have
So
thrown.
It looks like
3.
I might purchase her.
I would have thrown 3 or 4 on there just for the psych out.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted lots of Spider-Mans and Angelas.
True.
So I went 4 and 4 with that. But yeah, I should have put 3 Beckys and maybe only 3 Angelas. So anyway. So yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Kim?
I'm excited.
About your team?
Matt's excited though. So there you go.
I'm excited too. I'm excited to play this team.
Are you going to be recording all your matches?
No. No, if I am put somewhere where people are recording them, then they will get recorded. But as we recently learned before we recorded this episode, I cannot get my OBS to work right now. And also, I find when I record my matches, I am distracted. I don't play as well. I want to focus.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Although I did hear that there's some kind of magical OBS thing that would prevent me from having to switch screens and stuff. But again, that would require me to make my OBS work.
One day.
It has worked before. I have recorded before, but for some reason today we were playing with it before we recorded this episode, and I could not get the audio to register. So, but I'm on Mac, and Mac and OBS do not get along very well.
Yeah. Well, drumroll, people, ready for it?
You said drum roll.
Yes. I thought there was a chair falling.
Look, no one said I had rhythm.
Oh, I thought it was Matt who did it.
No, I was about to, and then she jumped in.
All right, should we do it, Matt? Are you ready?
Okay, start again. Take 2.
Okay.
Drum roll.
3, 2.
It's a Becky non-Becky team. Woo!
It's a what?
It's a Becky non-Becky team.
A Becky non-Becky team, like mine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to lead exactly like you. I put Becky on my team as well, the forecast, just a plain overcrush one. But my intent is obviously for the global as well. And yes, I'm disappointed I disqualified myself from Andy's gauntlet thing. But funny enough, I did put three dice on this card. But I don't want to put your sit. So I do have that global on there because I kind of went with a mask team. But my main focus is on, I blame Matt for introducing this card to me. So,
Blame him? That sounds very negative.
I don't think she was very happy when I introduced this card to her.
No, because I was like, so I'm going to be using, my main focus is Mystique, Oh Bitter Victory. So she's a 4-cost mask, and what she does is she gets +1A and +1D for each other character in the field zone. So that's mine and my opponent's. Okay. So I said it's a mask team because I put on here Asuka. There we go. Asuka. I'll get that right one day. Who lowers your mass characters by 2. So I can get her for 2. A lot of my stuff on here is pretty cheap. Nothing is really over 5, and they're mask, so that's where the Becky Global comes in because I want to prep them over when I have a chance. And so pretty much that's pretty much Mystique's my main one. So I want to get her out. Want to get enough characters out in my field, and hopefully my opponent has enough characters as well. She'll get up to at least 7, 8, hopefully more, depending on how many characters. And every turn I'm just going to try to swing with her. Either to take out their characters or they want to take that much damage. What I paired her with is the Under Surveillance basic action. So the Under Surveillance is that character dies considered to be level 1 and unblockable. So if I do have enough, I'm going to send her through unblockable with that. Which is my basic action. So that's really my focus, and I don't really have any back con. I really don't want to buy that Becky either, though I have three dice on it. and just pretty much keep swinging with her, try to get her buffed up. I put the new collector card on there, the common version. He is also a 5-cost mask. Again, mostly for the global, which you pay a mask and once per turn field a character die from your use pile, which was the Professor X global, right? From
XFC.
Yeah. So same global. So hopefully I can hold back a mask and be able to do that and trying to thin up my bag that way and obviously get a lot of characters out in the field for Mystique to get buffed up. He also has an interesting energize ability that if it may come to it or if I want to maybe buy him. So his energize ability is roll a die from your use pile, place it in your reserve pool, and then when fielded you may and if you actually do field him, you can field a non-psychic character die from your use pile at level 1. And at the end of the turn, KO it. So it's not a bad ability. I don't know if I'm ever going to buy the collector. He's still going to cost me 3. But it's there for mostly the global.
Perfect. I can field a sidekick, spin it to a fist.
Yeah.
And buff my Spider-Man.
There you go. So, and all my other cards are pretty much control-y pieces. So I have Big E on here. So Big E is when he's active, any combat damage to you that is more than 2 is reduced to 2. So again, if anybody's going in with unblockable god catchers, or they're going to force my Big E to block their god catchers, his ability is still going to go off. I'm only going to take 2 damage. If people are doing their Jerry Lawler and Becky's and all that stuff, at the end of it, I'm just going to be taking 2 damage. So he's there to annoy those people. I mean, I've loved that card. I've put him on pretty much every team I've built that's competitive. He's also going to cost me pretty cheap too, because he's a mask and a shield, so he's going to cost me. Then I have Gazer, the Intimidate one, same as Jocelyn. So again, if I want to intimidate out any God Catchers or any Beckys or anything else that's blocking my Mystique to go through, so that's where that's going to be used. He's a 2-cost shield, so he will get a discount, but he's still cheap. I put in here a Poison Ivy Red, which I think a lot of people have used. So that's a 3-cost mask. So when she's blocks or is blocked by a non-villain character die, she gains deadly. So again, any Beckys, any God Catchers, or any other character dice that may be a bit pesky, I can use her as well. The good thing is she can also sit in my field there and just sit there if I need to use her, and she counts towards Mystique. So a lot of these characters are just going to be sitting there. Same with Asuka, she'll just be sitting there. Gazer, as Jocelyn said, you want to rotate it out or get it KO'd. And lastly, my 8th card was one that I was also back and forth with, but I did put on a team, was the Black Widow promo that reduces opposing character abilities by 1, and then she can't be targeted by global abilities. That spot was open. I was going back and forth with Intellect Devour, but I don't really want Intellect Devour in my stuff because I want a lot of characters out in my field. I also thought about a ramp because I really don't have a ramp on here. And I was like, do I really need a ramp? My characters cost pretty cheap, being mass characters, Asuka. I probably don't need that much ramp. It's my point side. I will use it. So I put Black Widow in there just to because I knew Jocelyn was playing the team, and if I faced her, I knew exactly who to buy. And Jubilee was actually one I was worried about too. If anybody brings Jubilee team, that deals you 1 damage when she's either fielded, or the other Jubilee that when she attacks with each other both characters, she deals. And I don't know if anybody's going to be being range characters or breath weapon characters. Is even breath weapon characters around?
I don't think there's any breath weapon characters in Modern anymore.
Nothing, right?
Is there breath weapon in the new D&D set?
I thought there may be a couple.
I think there is.
Maybe Ornax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's very limited breath weapons.
And I think the fish guy, what's his name?
The fish guy?
What's his name?
Silgar?
Yes, Silgar, thank you. I think he does damage when he's KO'd, right? or something like that.
When
So
you
any
get KO'd by combat damage.
yeah, so any pesky those 1 or 2 damages that people would try to just paper cut you with, she's there for there. That was such a back and forth decision to put her on, but I think I'm happy with that. And my last basic action, I needed something to deal with static field. Static field would cause me a lot of problems on this team because Mystique needs to go through unblocked, and I don't want them pushing her back. So I came across Nefarious Broadcast basic action that cancels any ability effects, and neither player may use torpedoes until the end of the turn. So if I play that after doing everything I need to do, then pretty much my opponent can't do it. So that was my only one I could put on. That's not a character that can hopefully stop static field. Any Nylor globals for any Rachel teams, if anybody brings that.
I wonder if that's going to be a thing anymore. Hope Rachel.
I don't think
so.
But
I was so excited for that, you know.
I think it's just too slow.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to turn it into a win con by actually buying Rachel. But she's a 7 cost. That was hard.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've seen it played. I've played against a Rachel team, and it's like, okay, so you KO your stuff, you KO my stuff, but you have nothing to get damage through. So you know what I mean? Like,
that's why I was trying to buy the Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel had a 7 on level 3.
But then you would have to have a multiple of them out in the field and go for a 20 damage win.
This is why it didn't work.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think we might see Rachel teams, but I think static field was my only worry for that.
Well, I bought static field.
Yeah, so because I have no really secondary win con unless I do fall to that Becky, which I don't want to, and so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I had 6. I have 6 versions of 6 different teams that I wanted to play at this tournament, and 2 of them were a Becky and a Godcatcher team, and then I was like, no, I want to do something fun. I played this against Rob a couple times, and I did enjoy it. The Mystique card's great. I do like it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think I just need to roll pretty good for this to go off,
or your opponent rolls really bad.
Yeah, or they have a team that they're beefing up their field and not really know what's going to happen to them. So I just always have to remember what this team is. If I do have a beefy Mystique, like I'm counting and I see a 7/7 Mystique sitting there, I need to attack. Always remember to attack with her, because either they're going to take 7 damage or they're going to put up a character and get KO'd. So I just have to remember to do that if I do see her at least 5+, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I kind of remember this card, and I was like, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's build this again, and let's give it a try. And you know what? I'm excited to play it again. So.
Well, you were toying with playing that with the EarthX Origins tournament, right?
Yes, but then I found her to be too slow. But now with Asuka and discounts and all these other things, I'm just like, wow, she actually... And with Becky Global moving it over, it was working. Like, I had 7 characters in the field. So she was getting beefy, and I was just like, okay, this is going a little faster.
Please don't field more than 4 characters, please, because that's the most I can spin down with Spider-Man.
Wait, Spider-Man is 1, right? You can spin down 1 at a time per Spider-Man?
1 per attack.
Yeah, okay.
And then I have Gazer, so I can intimidate some.
That's true. So, yeah, so we'll see. Yeah. So, going for the wooden spoon, but not.
What do you think of Kim's team, Matt?
I'm a fan of that Mystique. I've always been a fan of that Mystique. She was always just too expensive at 4 cost. But with Asuka, what is it? Asuka? Asuka. sorry,
It's spelled
WWE fans.
Asuka, but it's pronounced Asuka.
But with her around, definitely Mystique's achievable, and you can get her in the field. You can get multiples in her field, and you only have 2 dice on her. Why don't you have 4?
Well, because I was going to proxy, but I asked Mr. Truth 6 there, and he kind of gave me the just stick to what you have.
Oh, okay.
The only thing that's outside of this is the Infinity stuff.
Okay.
So I didn't want to mess with anything when it came with prizing and sponsorship and stuff. So I just stuck to what I had.
Someone offered to lend you 2 Mystique dice.
Sorry?
Someone offered to lend you 2 Mystique dice.
Yeah. I even had 2 spots too. I only have 18 dice on this team.
Then why didn't you just take me up on it? I could have dropped them off.
But
I literally drove right past your house today.
Oh, well, you should just texted me anyways.
Well, I didn't have my Mystique dice with me. You said you didn't want them.
Anyway. Even with Poison Ivy, I couldn't do it. I only have 2, right? And I was going to proxy a 3rd. So just to be just respectful of the tournament and that stuff, I kind of just didn't proxy it. So
that makes sense. But yeah, I like the team, and Mystique, because of under surveillance, like forcing your character to level 1 basically. With Mystique, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like her stats are not affected at all. So yeah, you just gotta keep swinging with her, and either knock the wall down or go through. Yeah,
and that's the goal. Always remember is to always attack with her if I know she's at least a 5+. And they have less than that on their team, obviously, right? I'm not going to attack if they have like a Becky 8/8 sitting there, unless my person's like a 9/9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And another thing too is with the level 1, it doesn't really matter with her. And I always have to remember too, if I'm blocking and I could KO something with her, always remember too that she's persistently +1/+1, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could block with her and knock that out. Like I think I was forgetting that when I was practicing. What's that? So I just.
You guys got your 100 games in each, right? With these teams?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. 99, 98, 97.
Kim, how many times did I play this against you? Twice?
2. Yeah.
Yeah, twice.
I played twice this team against Rob. That's it.
There you go. So you're solid 2 games in. You're good.
I did play a version of this team, a previous version. So before I added in Angela and Eddie, I've tried it actually 2 different ways. So I was trying with 2 of the new Infinity Gauntlet cards. Black Dwarf. So
that's the double attack one, right?
Well, there's 2. So the common is the double attack. He's a 5-cost fist, Black Order. And when he's fielded, you replace target character die's printed A with double its printed A. So the idea was double Spider-Man to 6, 8, or 10, right? And then, shenanigans occur. I also tried it with the 5-cost fist rare Giant Axe. And what's interesting about that card is it is the only card in this set that has a fixer. So it's got a global, pay 0 once per turn on your turn. Spin one of your sidekick dice in the field or reserve pool to its fist face. So it's got a fist fixer. And when fielded, target non-black dwarf character die gets +2A and gains Overcrush. So the idea there was it gave me the fist fixer, which is very specific to what my team needed. And then the +2A and the Overcrush would help if somebody had something low defense in the field and maybe my Spider-Man couldn't spin everybody out. So I tried it with that, but the problem is he's a 5-cost.
Yeah.
Right? So even with the Kree Captain, it was too much to try and get to him. With testing with Angela, it was easier to get to the 4-cost Bolt. And then the other card that I had swapped out was the Eddie Guerrero. I put the Istrid Horn in instead originally because, again, of the fist synergy. So I was like, if she doesn't roll, she can at least buff. But the when attacks is really a stronger ability right now, especially with this team, which is focused on while active and when attacks type things with infiltrate and spinning dice. So, and because I get to choose the order of the effects, the Eddie was a smarter thing selection.
Well, and the nice thing I like with this team, what I wanted to test with it, is with Angela out there, force attacks aren't going to be an issue for you because you can just bounce your guys right back.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hate force attacks. They're so annoying.
I don't blame you for that.
And there's a few of them now. There's Doctor Strange. There's
Kevin Nash.
Scott Hall. Scott Hall is the one.
Yeah. And so then there's still the Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
But the Black Widow is limited to once per turn, right?
Yeah.
Like Bishop. Isn't it Kate Bishop?
No.
Kate Bishop's static field, basically.
Oh right, yeah.
So force attacks. I don't have to worry about that. That's a good call.
Yeah, that's what I liked most about the team when I've looked at this combo, and that's why Eddie I think is the better option versus Istrid, because in theory Eddie just sits there until you're ready till you really need him.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like your idea of spinning them out with Spider-Man, then using Eddie to get rid of it, all in the same move, and that's terrible.
Yeah. that's exactly the plan.
Because
so I get to choose the order of the effects, right?
Right, yeah.
So that's really helpful because I do think, to Kim's point, I think masks are going to be really strong.
Yes.
Right? And I brought static field on my team. I don't want my opponent to use a static field on my dice.
No.
Right? So Eddie will, if I have to spin something to a mask, for example, if I don't have a choice because that's the energy type that the die is, I can spin it to a single mask and then say, by the way, Eddie says that goes to the use pile.
Yeah.
Everything. So, everything in the reserve pool?
Everything.
All the energy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to try it out tomorrow and see how it does in what I expect to be a sea of Becky's and Godcatchers, but I know if I end up with some bad matchups on direct damage that I'm probably in a bad spot. But, it'll be fun.
It'll be fun to play.
And then we'll come back tomorrow and, give you guys a summary of how it went.
Yep.
See who got the wooden spoon?
Who got the X-Men promos?
Oh, that. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about those.
That's because you already have a set, Matt.
I do have a set.
Hey, I made a deal with Joe. So, Joe, if you're listening, we made a deal. Remember?
Do you have that in writing?
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
I have it.
Discord.
Oh, okay. Everything on the internet is true. It's accurate,
Wait,
right?
Screenshot it. I didn't screenshot it yet. Okay.
Better go screenshot that, Kim. Go searching for that in the Discord. Make sure you have the physical record.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Matt, if you were going to play tomorrow, if you didn't have to work because your boss is such a mean guy,
yeah,
what would you play?
I would play Angela Spider-Man.
Yeah.
100%. That's kind of why I gave it to you. I'm going, I want someone to play this.
Yeah, I already had Spider-Man. It was just the Angela was an addition, so I'm glad that you suggested it.
Yeah, it's one I've been wanting to test out myself and just haven't had a chance to. Mostly because I don't have Angela yet. Well, or Spider-Man.
I have prototype.
I have a Spider-Man, not the legal Spider-Man. But yeah, if I had played, I would have gone with something very similar to what you got with the core of Angela, Spider-Man, and Eddie. Mm-hmm. With static field for sure, and then whatever else to mix in there. But I've been wanting to see how this combo works since I saw Angela. It makes sense to me that they should pair well together.
Yeah.
It's just can you get enough 4 costs out before the Godcatcher or Becky Lynch stomps you?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, like, it's the focus is you get your Spider-Man and your Angela first, right? So if you go first, it's you're hoping for 2 fists and a bolt or a fist, right?
Yeah.
So if you get 2 fists and a bolt or a fist, then you can buy one of them, and then you can buy the other one and start getting that through and hope your opponent has some ramp to help you out.
Yeah.
Or you get a shield so that you can Becky Lynch the die over.
Yeah.
So you need to record your games. You better get your OBS working because Matt's going to want to see every single one of you.
I am.
I'm sure I will end up on a stream somewhere at some point, and then we will see if it works. And if not, then maybe I'll play you, Kim, because you're recording your games.
Yep. Or make a deal with Ross or somebody and say, hey, Ross, just pick the rooms I'm always in.
Well, I have to be in hangout rooms because I can't get Jitsi to work. So.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Same with me with legs, but we'll see.
So I've had a lot of trouble with Jitsi, unfortunately. So hopefully I can be in the hangout rooms.
I'm guessing they're using the CR game room rooms.
I would guess no. A lot of the CR game room ones are Jitsi.
Ah, okay.
So they might stick to Dice Coalition, maybe.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're probably going to have to use a couple of different sets because if there's 27, that's 16. Sorry, that's 13 matches per round, right?
Yeah.
So like 6 rooms.
Depends on how many rooms are in Dice Coalition? 8?
No, 6.
Oh, 6. They used to have 8.
Yeah, 2 magically disappeared.
Oh, yeah. So there's 6 there, and then I know we have 10 rooms on the dm-north.com website, but only 2 of those are hangout rooms.
Yeah.
And then all of the CRGR rooms are Jitsi, so we'll see.
I know a lot of the European people had problems with Jitsi back in, oh god, what tournament was that?
EarthX Origins?
Was that EarthX Origins, or was there something before that?
Bad for me for that. I don't know.
I have the weirdest problems with Jitsi. It doesn't recognize my one headset, so I have to plug a different headset in, and then I get weird lags, and it sounds funny. I've had a lot of issues with it, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, worst case scenario, I could always just do a direct Hangouts request with someone, right?
Or Discord.
Discord's also a little janky with my microphone. But,
oh, okay.
But we'll figure it out. It will be what it'll be. We're playing 45 minutes, best of 3 rounds. And I think it's 5 rounds of Swiss, so yeah, should be fun.
No turns, just goes right to the end. If you go right to the end, it's a tie or
life.
Life.
Yeah, he mentioned how that works, but I didn't quite understand it. But just win your games. That's all you got to do.
That's the plan. Just spin everything out and stop people with, Spider-Man. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Every win gets your raffle tickets, so there's some raffle prizes.
They've got some excellent prizing for this event. I'm quite impressed with what he's got.
Really good stuff there.
Yeah.
They always have really good prizing. They put a lot of effort into it. Chris and Andy over at the Ministry of Dice, if you're not already subscribed to them on their podcast or their YouTube channel, would strongly recommend that you go check them out, the Ministry of Dice. And, we're big fans of them over here in the colonies. So here we are, a little bit less than 24 hours after we last spoke. And Kim, how did your day go today at the MoDPDMUKGE?
I should have cued you to say it. Day went well. Started off round 1 versus Shadow Meld.
Mm-hmm.
The Godcatcher team, of course. It wasn't the Godcatcher that really got me on that team. He had the Scott Hall Global that must attack.
Okay.
So that's how he was getting rid of my Biggie.
Okay.
And he also had the Hawkeye Global, which was pay a bolt and deal 1 damage to target sidekick character die. And I also had, I had the Collector on to, fill my sidekick. So he was like, he's holding back a lot of energy and bolting my stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually that would whittle down my feel, and he was going in with his Godcatcher, and I couldn't really do much. But that game started off really bad because I missed Mystique 2 or 3 times and missed Mike Oscar and Poison Ivy, so I really didn't have much character, so that probably helped him a lot in my field. So I ended up playing 2 games, and I went 0-2 on that one. Round 2, I versed M. Brewer.
Mm-hmm.
Also a Godcatcher team, so I was like, yay. That game actually went full 45 minutes. We only got to play 1 game of that. He won. He used mostly Confront the Mighty to deal with my Biggie.
Mm-hmm.
Confront the Mighty is the one that you have your A equal to the D of a opposing character die, and then they deal damage to each other.
Yep.
And then he had the storm that helps him reroll action dice. So if he missed any of his action dice, he can reroll and obviously be able to put his Godcatcher in.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So he would use that, and then re-roll it if he misses it, and then it was pretty much he would get it, right? So he used that to trigger everything, and then I think I had battle rolls for that one too. I guess nobody wanted to play against Godcatcher. Round 3 was versus Collector Rob. I've never actually played him before.
Oh yeah.
He had the Green Lantern team. So that was an interesting team. He was rolling a lot of masks. He got lucky. Plus, he was using Orc Knob, so that way the Swarm one, but mostly to get the Swarm, but don't roll them on their character faces, so he can get the masks.
Right.
Green Lantern was his only Justice League character, so I actually ended up buying Black Widow, and I don't know why, because that didn't really do nothing.
Well, it's only take one away, right?
Yeah, so it was just, but that was my first turn. I had nothing else to buy. I didn't get any masks and nothing, so I'm like, fine, I'll buy Black Widow. I think he told me to do it, so I did it. So he pretty much again whittled down. I can't remember in that game if I got my Mystique to go off or not. It was a long day, so. And then round 4 was versus Ingledoom. And that went actually well. He had an Iceman team, and he also had the new Black Widow. I think it's the uncommon version that she gets Overcrush and only psychics can block her.
Yep.
And he was using Avenger's ID card to buff her up and make her an Avenger and all that.
Yep.
Again, Biggie really helped with that one because any Overcrush damage, I was just like Psychic, and I would be taking 2 damage. So it slowed him down. Mystique went off, I think, pretty good in that one. I think one game it went off for 15 damage.
Nice.
And another one 17. So it was up there. And I won 2-0 in that one. And then round 5 was against Nefarious Broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Lead a fish team, but with Ornax, the dragon guy.
Yep.
Ornax. So he was using that to breath weapon and also using your favorite Seething Corruption.
I saw there was a team that had Seething Corruption on it, but I didn't get a chance to face it, so...
Yeah, so that one he was, that one I had a really nice field. I had like maybe 6 sidekicks in there, and all my characters were in the field, and he was just getting all rid of them. Like all my characters going out there because of either the breath weapon or he was using the Seething Corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to work for that one, but it ended up I did win 2-0, and I think I also went out with a big bang with Mystique. And that went 2-0. But he made me work for that one. Because trying to roll back psychics when all of them are KO'd is tough to get your Mystique back up high. So overall for the day, I went 2-3. Not bad. My last 2 games I won. Godcatchers, when I faced them, I just couldn't line up everything right. And surprisingly, the basic action I had on there, which is also the Furious Broadcaster, I played it once, and it actually worked really well because he was holding a lot of mass, and they had static field.
Mm-hmm.
Came in the right turn to hit my Mystique for like 15. So I kind of that basic action. I never really noticed it, so it actually works for a lot of globals that people can't do.
Yeah, but it does.
You got to line it up right.
For sure.
You know what's coming, and then you got to kind of prep it over and. So, but no, it was good. So 2 Godcatchers, no Beckies on my side. I didn't face any key teams. So 2 Godcatchers, a Green Lantern, a Lita Fish, and an Iceman. So yeah. How about you?
Well, so I started my day off against El Todd, who I'd never played before, and he had a Becky team. So that went to time. So he won the first game and I won the second game, and then we had 30 seconds left on the clock. So we said there's not any way either one of us can get anywhere in a third game, because you can't attack on the first turn anyway. So we said we'll call that a tie because there wasn't enough time to do anything else. So we tied. It was a good game. It was a really good back and forth, very much a chess match. He was keeping very few things in his field, as was I, because he did have the full Becky with the Becky Lawler and the Booker T, so the force block and the double the blocking. So I was trying to keep fewer characters in my field. But Spider-Man was effective in a couple of spots there, so that was really cool. My second round was against General Nemesis, and General Nemesis had a team built around the super rare Thor from Infinity Gauntlet, which deals 2 damage to your opponent or target character die when you field a character die. So his plan was get his Thor in the field, field a whole bunch of sidekicks. He had the Collector Global to do that. He had some other cheap characters to help him out, and just ping away at me. And that was exactly what I didn't want to see, because as I had mentioned yesterday when we were doing our recording, was that I had not put Black Widow on my team, so I didn't have any protection against direct damage. And it would have helped. It would have helped to have had it, because it certainly would have slowed him down. But we ended up I went 0-2, but I did take him for a few life there, and I was able to spin his Thor out a couple of times with my Spider-Man. So yeah, and again, because it was such a large field, I find that this, Spider-Man is super cool, but if the field is too big, if your opponent's field is too large, it's not as effective. You need something else to go with it, or you need multiple Spider-Mans, and at a 4 cost, it's a little challenging to get. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, is that because your infiltrate wouldn't really trigger when they have a lot?
If they have blockers.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't even think I got Angela out in that game.
Oh, okay.
In some of my games, I wasn't able to get her, and in some of the games, I was able to buy her, and she refused to roll. So she did do some pretty good infiltrating against my next opponent, which was Ingledew. So you already talked about his team. When I played him, he focused on the Black Widow Overcrush with the Avengers ID card, and he had the Turk Barrett. Mm-hmm. He was using the Turk Barrett. He didn't buy the Iceman at all against me.
He bought the Turk on the second game with me, and we had a rules question about Turk, actually.
Yeah.
It says when active, and it was all in the same sentence as the Energize. We weren't sure if that was an Energizer ability or because when he's active, but I guess they forgot to hit the space bar on that.
Yeah. So I ended up taking those games 2-0 against Ingledew. Round 4, I was against fellow DM Norther Reg, who was running a Godcatcher team. And the first game was very much a back and forth. He had a lot of Godcatchers in the field, but I had static field, and he didn't have lethal, so he was holding back. And then there was a turn where I had all 3 of my gazers to roll, and if I'd done that, I might have been able to turn the tide, but only one of them rolled. So there was also a turn where he had Draxed my Spider-Man, and I had to intimidate the Spider-Man instead of intimidate the Drax instead of the Godcatcher token so that I could field Spider-Man. But definitely against the Godcatcher, where you have a token that can't be spun, the Spider-Man is far less effective. And then my final round was against Stuart, and he was playing a Lita Atlantis team as well. He didn't actually buy Lita against me. He was focused on fielding sidekicks and Black Widow and Atlantis and trying to buff things up. And I ended up taking that one 2-0 as well. Again, the first game was very close and very much back and forth. And then the second game, Stu's dice were not quite as cooperative with him as mine were with me. So yeah, but I did get the infiltrate to go off with the Spider-Man in a couple of the games. I think it was against Ingledew that I did the most of that. It didn't actually fire, I don't think, against Reg. I don't even think Angela fielded. And then against Stu, I believe I was doing some infiltrate as well, I think. But it's all sort of a blur. So I ended the day 2-2-1. So 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie. So I was pretty pleased with that because I didn't come with the big hitters. Now, with all of that said, although I said I'm not going to buy Becky, I did buy Becky in a couple of games. One of them against Ingledew because he Draxed my Spider-Man. I think the other one was against Reg because, again, similar, that Spider-Man was Draxed, or maybe it was the second game where I realized that the Spider-Man was just not going to be effective against his team. So I did end up buying the Becky for a couple of games, and it did win me one game, but it didn't win me the other one. So, and certainly the team was not optimized for Becky.
Yeah, with against Inkledu too, he pulled out Drax in the first game, but I guess Becky scared him with my 3 dice on there, even though I was never intentionally going to buy Becky, and he Draxed that. And I think he learned his lesson second game.
Yeah.
So I think he Draxed Mystique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So overall, I would say that the event was a lot of fun. The Ministry of Dice guys, Chris and Andy, they put on a really solid event. It was well thought out. I would say that the 45-minute rounds were a bit short. I don't know how some of these people were managing to get 3 games in to get a 2-1 score, because I barely got 2 games in with all of mine. I didn't even have that many control pieces. I didn't have a Drax or anything like that, right? So I don't know. I don't know how some of those people were doing that.
I don't know. Godcatcher versus Godcatcher? I don't know.
Maybe that's what it was. And I think that's the key point here is, so we went into this expecting to see a lot of Beckys and a lot of Godcatchers. And there are some stats available if you want to go over to the Brit Roller 6 blog that Chris put together just before the event. So Godcatcher was very prevalent and Becky not so much. So there were only 7 Beckys in the tournament, and 2 of them were ours. Mm-hmm. So there was only 5 other people that brought Becky to the tournament. But Godcatcher had like 12 or 13 appearances. So
9.
Pardon?
9 Godcatchers.
9 Godcatchers, yeah. So a lot of Godcatchers there. And a fair amount of the utility pieces like Clayface and what have you.
Static Field.
Yeah. Static Field, and I'm just trying to think of what else there was.
Spider-Man was 5.
Pardon?
Spider-Man was number 5.
Yeah, he had I think there was 9 appearances of him as well. But I think that what happened here was that the spinning mechanics of Infinity Gauntlet scared people away from Becky and sent them to Godcatcher, because you can't spin a token.
Yeah.
It's just not affected by that. So you can't spin it to energy, so it just stays there. I think that was sort of the key. And that's my take on it. So, but overall, I mean, I played 5 different types of teams, right? Nice. And it was great to play a day of Dice Masters, and I'm glad that everyone got out to play. And I guess we should congratulate the top 3.
Yes. So number 3 was the Joho.
Mm-hmm. Joe from CR Game Room.
I don't know what team he actually played.
He was playing a Rare Collector Awaken team.
Okay.
Yeah, so a team where he would spin the collector up so that he could field dice. I don't know what he was fielding with it because I didn't face him, but...
Yeah, so he went 4-1. Mm-hmm. And then number 2 was Shadow Metal, so Patrick, which I played. Which was, got your team. And then number 1 was...
General Nemesis, who I played.
Yeah.
With the Super Rare Thor theme.
Yeah. So that wasn't a catcher nor Becky team that won. So that's good. It's different.
Yeah, I think that, and like I had said, I was worried about the direct damage. There wasn't as much of it as I thought, but when I came up against it, it was certainly a problem, right? So, and there isn't a ton of protection from direct damage right now. So I think we'll probably see Black Widow Agent as an auto include on a lot of teams moving forward, at least for the next little while in this meta. But overall, I felt that the meta was healthy and it wasn't all, it wasn't all the same stuff. There was variations on the builds. People were playing things that were a little bit different. So,
yeah. So thanks to the Ministry of Dice for putting the tournament on. It was really fun. And everybody who participated, and we had all the streamers that were out there. So I'm sure we'll see some videos from us go up on our site, our YouTube site.
Yeah, there'll be probably lots of videos going up over the course of the next little while, and I know several people were streaming. So of course, the CR Game Room guys were streaming. Ross was streaming. I think one of the players, Ronathan PXPX, was streaming from YouTube. TJ was streaming from Friday Night Clicks. I know, Kim, you recorded some of your games. I recorded some of mine. I don't know how the quality is because I was having some problem with the desktop audio, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
it was very quiet.
My stuff was lagging at the first and then got way better at the end. It's like almost like I tweaked it to the right thing towards the end, but they're not brutal. So we'll see.
So we'll see how those turned out and potentially get those up for you. But like you said, thanks to everyone who put it together, streamed, participated, made it a really fun day of rolling dice. And big thanks to Chris for keeping it all on time. So although I felt the 45-minute rounds were just a smidgen short, and I think that I'd like to see them go a little bit longer, I liked the no turns at time. Like, you finish your current turn and that's it. So that was really good, and it kept it very close to being on time. So we really only played for the 5 hours, 5 rounds, an hour per round. By the time you had the 45 minutes, finish that turn, report your results, and then the next round was posted.
Yeah, because it finished just over 7 o'clock Eastern, so we started
a
little
right on the dot at 2 o'clock.
It's good.
Yeah. So thanks to those folks over there at the Ministry of Dice. Chris was saying something about the importance of going over to the UK Games Expo website and claiming your virtual badge for being part of this event. Apparently it helps the UK Games Expo in some way because this is the first time it's been done virtually because of the COVID. So check out the BritRoller6 blog for more details on that. He should be posting something, or by the time this comes out, something should have been posted.
Cool. Yeah. Anything else anybody want to add?
Well, I think we have a big announcement to make.
We do?
Here's your drum roll.
Oh, your drum roll is way better. I like that. Just cut that into yours. Get rid of.
Oh, okay.
We are actually going to follow up this event with one of our own because 2020 has been so kind to all of us, and there are no really tournaments going on. There's no Canadian Championships this year. We decided that we would hold our own. So we are holding the unofficial Canadian Nationals in September. Do you want to do the dates, or do you want me to do that, or?
I'll do the dates. So okay. It will be held on September 19th, which is and we're going to hold it at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So find your friend time bot and figure out what time that is for you locally. So start time will be 12 p.m. Eastern time. And then what's our format going to be, Matt?
I think we're going to kind of follow the MoDPDM style. It's kind of a more it's a more friendly environment. It's more to get as many games in as you can. And with online play, games can kind of drag on sometimes. So the thought of top cuts on top of 4 to 5 rounds of Swiss, that's a long day. So I think just do 5 rounds or however many rounds we end up doing. And that's it. No top cuts. Whatever your record is after Swiss, that's your record. And right now, subject to change.
Reserve the right to change our mind.
Yeah, we're going to kind of follow along with the best of 3 format. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of it for EarthX Origins, so we'll maybe give it another go, see how it goes. But we're thinking of kind of bumping the time limit because they're doing 45 minutes, right?
That's right.
And we were thinking 50, maybe 55 minutes, something like that. So we'll kind of play it by ear, see how this event goes with the 45-minute rounds, and decide if 50 minutes is sufficient, if an hour is needed, and just we'll kind of play off of what happens tomorrow, I think. Format's modern, constructed. I'm hoping that Typhoid Mary has made her way overseas by then so that we don't have to ban anything. If not, maybe all of the North Americans who have extra Typhoid Mary dice can maybe ship them over to the UK players who want to play. That might be nice too. I think that's about it. Anything else we want to talk about at this point?
Just come roll for
what's it called, Matt?
Oh, what's it called? It's not called the Canadian Championships because this is not an official event. We are going to go with Roll for the North.
There we go.
Yeah.
So Roll for the North, September 19th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And modern constructed best of 3 format, reserve the right to change our minds.
Yep.
And hoping that Typhoid Mary, as you said, has made it over there, that Infinity Gauntlet has made it to the UK, so that we don't have to exclude her and we can actually see what the meta looks like with her in it.
Yeah, because I know that was the big, she was the big scary thing coming out, the new Shriek and whatnot. So we haven't seen a tournament with her yet. Is she still a problem?
I guess we'll have to see. I think the 4-cost crossover makes it a little bit more challenging.
Yes, definitely not as easy, but I do want to see her in a tournament. So we're hoping that, like I said, everyone gets the product and we can just play modern. No bans, just let it fly.
Fantastic. So we are very much looking forward to that. And you'll want to watch our website, YouTube, Facebook, all of those places that you can find us for more information and details as things come out and are announced. There will be some prizing, right, Matt?
We are working on prizing as we speak. We've got a few things. I don't think we want to announce what you and I think are the big things at this point.
No, we have to save something for later.
Yeah, exactly. But we do have some kind of cool things that we've got available for people. We're working on a few other things. As this is coming out Monday, if anyone wants to donate prizing, we're not going to say no.
We're absolutely going to say yes.
We're going to say yes. And cost-wise, that's what we didn't talk about. Again, we're going to take a page out of the ministry's book, and we're not going to charge an entry fee. I don't think that's very inclusive, I guess is the word. And we're just going to ask for donations if people want to donate to the cause to kind of help cover shipping, because Canada Post is ridiculously expensive. And
it really is.
Yeah, it's good. And we may try to sweeten the pot a little bit, maybe have a little raffle or a contest or something for a draw for people who do donate to maybe kind of get some cash in the coffers there.
So stay tuned for more information on Roll for the North, as we will continue to release info over the coming days and weeks. I was going to say months, but it's less than a month till we're there, so looking forward to that.
And just a reminder, Ladies' Night is happening next Saturday, August 29th. Any of the ladies out there who want to come join Jocelyn and I for a 2-hour kickback, relax, have fun, casual gaming night. So again, details are on our website, dmnorth.com.
All right, so let's run through the whole slew of places you can find us. You can find us on our website at dm-north.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dice Masters North. YouTube, Dice Masters North, twitch.tv/Dice Masters North. And yes, we really do have the keys to the Instagram now. Thank you, Matt. So you will see more posts there as we continue to engage in that platform. And I think that's all we've got for today. So thanks, Matt, for joining us. Thanks, Kim. Looking forward to seeing how tomorrow went, / talking about how yesterday was. And until next time, on a double and dice.